Hi friends, welcome to Our Family Cooks. Today I'm going to be showing you 3 super easy, super quick meals that you can make for your family on a decent budget. So we're going to dive into my first one where I use an air fryer, and I have been making this one probably once or twice a week for the last 3 or 4 weeks. My husband's probably getting annoyed with it, but it is so good, it's so fast and really easy to, it only takes 15 to 20 minutes in the air fryer, so it's really fast and a great one during the weeknights when you're like, what the heck do I make for dinner? So let's dive in and let's get started. I'm gonna plug my air fryer in over here. And so what we need for this recipe, I always try to make sure I get a protein, a veggie, and some sort of carb. You don't always have to have a carb, but we like to mix all those together. And this one uses baby potatoes. I have also used sweet potatoes before, and it tastes amazing that way too. So baby potatoes or sweet potatoes, I get this massive bag at Costco. I'm not sure what it costs. It's probably 15 to 20 bucks maybe, but I can double check that and put that below or on the screen here. But we've got a big bag of potatoes and then some bell peppers, which I always use 2 bell peppers, so I'm gonna use both of these. If you want more bell peppers, you definitely could, but I feel like 2 really just gives it evens out, and it's perfect for the amount of potatoes to meat that you're gonna be using. So, and then for our protein, I really like, these are also a Costco find. They are the Amy Lou andouille chicken sausage. So these are a little spicier. These I usually just make for my husband and I, and then when it's for my daughter, she's a toddler, so she's not huge on spicy stuff yet, they have a apple Gouda sausage that is also fantastic. So these are great, Costco find. You can also get them, I think, at other stores, or you can go to the amylou.com and it has all these different sausages. So these are also casing free. That's one thing. I am a picky person when it comes to sausages. I do not like the casing on it, and I always peel it off. So I like that these do not have the casing on them. And they're chicken sausage, so they have extra protein. All right, so we are going to get this all cut up, and I'll show you guys how to put it together. All right, so first I'm going to clean our potatoes, and I will say I'm not the best at measuring stuff. I just kind of eyeball it. I usually make around, put that many potatoes in the colander so I can take it to the sink, rinse them off, and then I chop them up. So I will measure that and then put it in my recipe so you guys know how much is this. But this is what I usually do, and I just eyeball it, but I will measure it. So I'm gonna go ahead and rinse those off. Since it's wet, I'm gonna put some paper towels under it so my whole countertop doesn't get wet. And I will move my cutting board over here. Grab a knife. All right, so I always just chop up sorry, that was really loud. I always just chop up my potatoes and throw them straight into the air fryer bucket and then go from there. So I'm gonna go ahead and chop these up. Since I do sometimes, we typically feed our daughter the same food that we're eating. So I try to go ahead and cut these smaller that she can chew them up, because she has 12 to 14 teeth now, and some molars, so she can chew food really well. But I still try to make them smaller because sometimes they don't like to chew them all the way, so don't want her to choke. But if you have small kiddos too, this is a great recipe that they can enjoy as well. We did baby-led weaning when we started that at 6-7 months. So she's we've always done whatever we're eating for dinner, we'll also give to her. Spicy stuff, we don't really do that because she tends to just spit it out. But other foods, whatever we're having, that's what she's having. And it's worked out really well for us. And I will say I'm also not a professional chef, so my knife skills may not be A+ or what you'd see on Food Network, but gets the job done, and I don't cut myself, so I call it a win. And I keep the skins on my potatoes. I know a lot of people want to cut them off, and that's totally fine if you do, but don't really notice them. I don't you know, when you're eating these small baby potatoes, I don't think you really notice the skins like you do on like larger russet potatoes. So I leave them on, and it saves time, then I don't have to peel all my potatoes because that also takes time. And when you're trying to rush and get dinner on the table, you don't have time to peel 20 small, tiny baby potatoes. You do what works for your family. All right, so I have all of my potatoes chopped up. I'm gonna swap this real quick. And this is the order that I make it to have it be the fastest when I don't have anything chopped up or pre-planned and it's 4:30 and I need to get dinner on the table by 5:30. So I always do the potatoes first, and then extra virgin olive oil, give that a good drizzle. I know some people don't put oil in their air fryers, but I'm not scared of olive oil. And we try to stay away from seed oils, so we go with extra virgin olive oil or avocado oil. So I just do a nice douse of oil on here, and then I'm gonna get my seasonings. I like to put a lot of seasoning, so there's lots of flavor on these. First up, Lowry's seasoning salt. And again, I don't measure, I just give a really good sprinkle. And Lowry's has salt, sugar, paprika, turmeric, onion, garlic, yeah, paprika. So lots of good stuff in there. And then I like doing garlic powder, and this got at Costco as well. And just do a good douse of that all over the place. Onion powder, and you could also, if you have an onion, you could chop up an onion if you want, but I don't want to cry right now, so we're gonna do this. And then thyme leaves. Thyme is always so good on potatoes. And I just, like I said, I just pour it in. And then pepper. And like, there's a lot of seasoning on there, but that's what you want. You want the flavor. And then I always shake it to give it a really good, coating. And yeah, that looks awesome. Then this is what I do. I pop it in the air fryer. I start the air fryer. So I pop it in the air fryer, and then I turn it on, and 400 degrees. Max as it goes. And then the first cook, I do 15 minutes for the potatoes. So then you hit start. Okay, I like to clean as I go because it just makes it a lot faster. Hopefully that air fryer is not too loud. But then once I get this started, then I chop up my peppers. So I'm gonna go ahead and chop up my bell peppers, and then once the air fryer is done, we will add these to the air fryer. So I've got all my peppers cut up. I'm gonna put them in this bowl. I know it's extra dishes, but you can just throw it in the dishwasher. I just like to have my, probably gonna make a mess, but I like to have my countertop clean while I'm cooking and have it just all be organized. So sometimes if I'm cutting a lot of stuff up, I end up with like a bunch of dirty bowls, but thankfully you can throw them in the dishwasher and you don't really have to do many dishes. Okay, got those, and this is still going. We have 5.5 minutes left, so I'm gonna pause it and give it a good shake and stir. Oh yeah, that looks really good. Probably can't see that, but it looks amazing. Stir. All right. So we wait another 5.5 minutes for that. Then I always go to the sausage. And these are pre-cooked, so even though they're frozen, they'll be fine just popping them right in the air fryer because they'll be in there for 5 to 10 minutes, which is just enough time to cook and get hot. So these come in a 2-pack, which is why I really love Costco. They have so much stuff, so many options, and then you can just, if you only want to use one at a time, you can pop this one back in your freezer and use it at a later date. So it's not like you're opening all these at once and just wasting food. All right, and so it's 3 of us that usually eat, me, my husband, and then our daughter. And I usually use 4 to 5 of these links in one batch. because it tastes super good and I like getting lots of protein in my diet. So, and I'm not like on a diet. When I say in my diet, it's just in what I eat. I want to have a lot of protein. I try to prioritize protein for sure. So yes, these are frozen. Maybe you're not supposed to cook them right away when they're frozen. Like maybe I should put them and have them defrost, but you don't always have time for that. It's like, oh crap, I gotta make dinner. What am I gonna cook? All the meat's still frozen. I don't know. It still works for me, and if you got a sharp knife, you can just cut right through. So your preference, I don't think it matters. Here I am, dirtying another bowl. That's fine. So I chop these into small coin-sized pieces, and then after it cooks, if I'm gonna give this to my daughter, I always cut them in half, because this is, if they don't chew it all the way, it is a choking hazard, so you wanna cut it in half. Showing that this is a quick and easy meal. This has been in here for 15 minutes, cooking. And then I'm gonna add these and it'll be done in 5 to 10, just depends on, you gotta poke the potatoes and see how they're doing with the fork. But if they're good, you put those in 5-10 minutes and you got dinner. If I started this at 4:30, it's already done by 5, because while one thing is cooking, we're chopping and prepping the next. So we can kind of like go really fast with this. All right, so here, everything is done in the air fryer. Look at those, it looks nice and crispy. I'm gonna give it another shuffle, because that's fun. And we are gonna add our bell peppers. And because we cut them up in smaller pieces, they don't take as long to cook. Because I don't like when they're mushy, so I like when they just have, not a crunch, but they're just soft enough. And then we're gonna add our meat. Give that a good stir. Yum! Now it's nice and full. We're gonna pop this back in the air fryer. 400. And I'm gonna go 8 minutes. And then we will check it again. So our air fryer is done. I'm gonna check these, poke them with a fork, make sure our potatoes, oh yeah, that went right in. And also when you cut them like in smaller chunks like this, it helps them cook faster. Yeah, that is perfect. And same with our peppers. If I can get one. Yeah. Nope, that's not a pepper, that's a potato. Come on. Yes, perfect little crunch, but not too hard yet, not still raw. All right, and then since I have these bowls right here, I'm gonna go ahead and use these bowls for our lunch, because it is actually noon on the dot. So we're gonna eat this for lunch. And again, so make sure to let me know what you think of this recipe. If you try it, did you do any mix up or changes with like the vegetable that you put in there or the meat you put in there? Let me know what you guys are doing. And like I said in the beginning, these are really budget friendly recipes. You can go to Costco or even buy potatoes in bulk at your regular store. And then this will probably serve us, so for sure 1 meal, and then 2 or 3 times for lunch leftovers. So this is a great way. I know a lot of times we even fall victim to DoorDash and we order, and restaurant prices plus the DoorDash fees, it adds up so quickly for just 2 adults and then a child. So we are trying to get better at cooking at home, making all of our dishes at home and saving money and budgeting. So hopefully this one is a great budget friendly recipe for you too, and you guys all enjoy it. I am gonna add kind of the cost breakdown here on the screen so you guys can see kind of what this would look like if you were gonna make it yourself. So that is our first recipe. And now we will go on to recipe number 2. All right, our next recipe is something I grew up with my mom always making when we needed a quick dinner or just something easy to throw together. We call it poor man's beef Wellington, and it is really good. You only need 3 to 4 ingredients, so this is really something that I love making when I'm like, what the heck do I make? Look in the fridge and I got these 3 things, and I can make it. And then you can just make sides like green beans, mashed potatoes, some fruit, or a salad on the side. So something that's really easy and budget friendly. Croissant rolls, hamburger, and seasonings, and cheese. You need shredded cheese, so we're gonna have to shred that up. But first I'm gonna start with a 9x9 pan. If you wanna make it in a 9x13 or something bigger, you'll want 2 croissant rolls. So we're gonna start with layering our croissant rolls on the bottom of the pan. And these always scare me whenever I try and open these. So, oh, that one wasn't so bad. Usually I jump because I am just like waiting, the anticipation just gets me, and then I jump. But that one was not so bad. All right, so we take one of our croissant roll layers and we just put it on the bottom of our pan and mash that into the edges so it covers the whole bottom of our 9x13 baking dish. A couple more, that's what it looks like. So usually I have 2 left, and then we use that at the end. So save these, we will still use them. You just don't need them for the bottom of the pan to cover it. All right, step 1, all done. Super easy. And now we are gonna go over to the stove and brown some hamburger. I am going to be using 80/20 ground beef, and we had some diced up onions already in the fridge, so I'm gonna put these and saute them in with my hamburger as well. You don't have to add onions if you don't like onions, but whenever I already have them diced up, I love adding them into hamburger. So we will let that sit. I have an electric oven, and sometimes it takes a little while to heat up the pan and get to the proper temperature. So I'm gonna let that sit for just a minute or so and just kind of let it get hot, and then we'll really get to mashing. As you can see, it's really starting to brown up now, so I'm gonna just mix it all up and keep mashing away at it. I don't really think mashing is the correct term. Breaking it up, browning the hamburger, whatever you want to call it. Gonna just keep doing that. You don't want it to burn. I mean, it takes a lot for this to burn. Like, you'd really have to just let it sit there and like not do anything to it. So don't worry about that. But you do want to just mix it around and like break it up as you're going. And then I'm gonna add in my onions. I like mixing it all together so the onions really get sauteed, and then the flavor just tends to really soak into the meat when you mix it all together and cook it like this. So I like doing it this way. You could definitely have separate pans and just make your onions in one and then brown your hamburger in the other and then mix them later. But I like doing it this way too, because then you have less dishes. Our hamburger is looking so good. There are no pink spots left. It all looks like it's been cooked up. I do really like just leaving it and letting it really brown for a little while. So I kind of just like mash it down like this. This is something that my husband showed me, when the meat on the bottom of this is getting cooked in the pan, all that flavor is really getting cooked, and it is so good when you just let it kind of actually get brown past like this tannish brown or grayish brown. That's where all the flavor really soaks up and like comes from. So we're just gonna let this sit for maybe a minute or so, but it is starting to smell so good. I love the smell of cooked onions. So this is starting to look really good. We're getting that browning I wanna see on the other side to get all that flavor out. And one nice thing about letting it sit in here, the excess fat kind of evaporates, so then you don't have to pour out the grease. Like usually if you just brown it till, oh yeah, it looks brown, it's good, there's all that extra excess grease in there, and so you have to pour it out. And so when you let it kind of brown more, the grease is evaporating, so I'm not gonna have to pour any of this out, which is really nice because it's just an extra step. And it adds more flavor. So this is looking awesome. I'm gonna bring it back over to our kitchen counter and then we'll continue. You can see little bits of brown in there. That's what you want. Typically for the seasonings, I use the Lipton dry onion soup mix. I use half of a packet for when I'm doing the 9x9 and then a whole packet if I do a 9x13 or a larger dish. But as it would happen, I forgot to get dry onion soup mix from the store, so I kind of created my own. I've got minced garlic, onion powder, of course, celery salt, black pepper, paprika, and a couple other things in here. So that's gonna be our seasonings for today, because I was like, oh, well, oops, I don't have it, but it is totally fine. If you have regular seasonings on hand, you can recreate some of those things, which is really nice. So we are going to pour this all over top and then stir it in. And I'm definitely one where I wanna go more seasonings, the better. I want my food to have lots of really good flavor. So never be shy to add extra onion powder, extra garlic, extra whatever. If you like it spicy, add some chili powder, whatever you wanna do. So yeah, we just add all that to our hamburger, and then we're gonna add our hamburger mixture to our 9x9 baking dish. Dump that all in here, spread that around, and we'll set this to the side. Because the last thing before we put it in the oven, which reminds me I need to preheat my oven, so I'm gonna do that real quick. That's always something in the beginning of recipes, it's like, don't forget to preheat your oven, do that first, and I just tend to do that last. It is what it is. It's real life. So yeah, first thing, we've got the oven preheating, and now we just need to shred up some cheddar cheese, so I'm gonna do that. I really like using the blocks of cheese instead of the pre-shredded or grated cheese from the store, just because it melts way easier, because it doesn't have that anti-caking agent, which if you just shred up a block of cheese and you put it in a bag, it tends to kind of stick back together. So the stores put an anti-caking agent on it, so it doesn't do that. And when that's on there, it causes the cheese not to melt as easily or as well when you put it in things. So I just like using block cheese instead. It's not saying that I've never bought the shredded cheese before, because I used to always do that. But this just works so much better. And I think it just tastes better too. All right, we've got all of our cheese grated. Probably about 1.5 cups. Oven's done. Or 2 cups. So we just pour all this over here. And if you're not as big of a cheese person, put less cheese. But we love cheese, so we're putting it all on there. And then we take our last 2 pieces of dough and we place those on top. And if you want to cover it, like have the whole thing covered, you totally can. You would just need a second croissant roll, and then you can cover the whole thing, but this is how we've always done it, and we love it just the same. So now it is done, and we are gonna put it in the oven. All right, so that will be in the oven for about 20 minutes. Like I said before, this is a great dinner option that you can really serve with anything. I am going to be making some steamed broccoli to go with this because my daughter loves broccoli. Don't ask me how I got her to love broccoli, she just loves it. So I'm very thankful. But you could do pasta salad. Really the ideas are endless of what you could serve alongside this. Fruit, lots of different options. So I'm gonna be cutting up my broccoli and throwing it in our steamer because we're gonna have this for lunch today. So it is actually done and out of the oven. Looks so good. It's gonna be great for lunch. You just cut it in squares and then serve it that way and eat it. It's so good. It has such a buttery flavor from those croissant rolls. It's amazing. And like I said, got broccoli going. And so we are gonna have this for lunch, and it is a great budget-friendly meal. I mean, you can get 9 pieces out of this thing. So 6-ish servings if like some people eat 2. And again, I'll have all the information of what it costs and what it costs per serving so you guys can see how this is a budget-friendly meal here on the screen. And then stay tuned for recipe number 3. Our third and final recipe is going to be something that's super easy and that you can definitely make any time of the week. It is spicy macaroni and cheese, and it only needs 3 ingredients. So if you're expecting like super homemade fancy mac and cheese in this video, it's not gonna be that. We are using Puck's mac and cheese, but I'm not above boxed mac and cheese. I am planning to do a homemade macaroni and cheese here soon, but for the purpose of this video, budget friendly and super easy, we are using boxed mac and cheese. So all you need is boxed mac and cheese, Rotel chilies, and typically for spicy, I would say get the hot one, but I don't currently have that. We're just gonna use the original. So if you like it extra spicy, Rotel does have 3 different variations. They have original, mild, and hot. So get your preference of spice level, and then just butter and milk for the mac and cheese. Oh, and a pound of hamburger, I forgot. We're gonna add hamburger to this. So let's get started. We're gonna boil some water and get our noodles going. While we wait for our water to boil so we can put our noodles in, we are going to brown our hamburger. We always, or I guess I can't say always, but we typically buy all of our meat from a local butcher. So that is why all of our meat is packaged different. We get it from Wagner Locker. At least that's where we got our last cow. A lot of places living in the Midwest have great options for meat lockers. And so it just tends to be a lot cheaper to order from a meat locker and just buy half a cow in bulk versus having to wait and buy it at the store. But a lot of people do that in the Midwest, and then they also will buy half a pig, quarter of a pig, and we all just put it in our deep freezers, either in the garage or basement. But that's a pretty typical Midwest thing to do. I don't know. If you're not from the Midwest, do people around you also do the same thing? Or is that just a Midwest thing? And I love knowing exactly where my meat is coming from. Like you never know. It seems like nowadays meat's transported all over the United States, and we might be importing some of our meat. I don't know. So I like buying from family farms and supporting local businesses. Our water is boiling. It's ready. Ugh, they make these boxes so hard to get into. And I am using 2 boxes. And my trusty wooden spoon. So this is one trick I learned from, I think, my mom, but put a wooden spoon on top of whatever you're boiling when you're boiling noodles, and it stops it from boiling over. So I don't know the science behind it, what it is, but honestly, like, my noodles and water have boiled all the way up to where the spoon is, and it doesn't go over. It's like, oh my gosh, it's gonna go over, it's gonna go over, and then it like hits the spoon and it stops. I don't know, I'm not a scientist, but I think it's pretty cool, and I do it because it works, so why not? I don't know how you do it, but this is how I check my noodles. Need a couple more minutes. And I did add a little bit of onion powder and garlic powder to the hamburger to give some flavor. Well, I have to share an Allison's dumb moment with you. When I was going to take, well, the wooden spoon off of here, water was still boiling. I did turn the burner off, but I like stupidly just put my hand like that, and I like mildly burnt the top of my fingers. So don't be like me. Have more caution around boiling water. I've literally never done that before. My gosh. Anyways, we got all our noodles cooked. Making the mac and cheese now. So yeah, we got our milk and then our butter and our cheese packets we gotta put in there. We'll add in our hamburger. If you are only gonna make this with one box of mac and cheese, you'll want to only add 1 can of Rotel and half the amount of hamburger, so only half a pound. We'll see how my daughter likes this. Not sure if this one's gonna be a little too spicy for her, but fingers crossed. And there you have spicy macaroni and cheese. We just had this for dinner, so I'm recording this after dinner. And I will say, even with the original Rotel, there's a kick to it. There's definitely a spice to it. It's not as spicy as like my husband likes. He likes really spicy food. But I am more of a, I just want to like kind of feel the spice, a little bit of a kick on your tongue and not have it like punch you in the face. So depending on your spice comfort level, you may just want to stick with the original Rotel instead of getting the hot Rotel, but up to you. Anyways, so there's your budget-friendly, super easy meals that you can make anytime throughout the week, perfect for your family. So for the mac and cheese, I will have the cost breakdown here on the screen for you so you can see what it is to make this. And then also make sure, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, comment below what you enjoyed, what you didn't like, and make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks, y'all. Bye.